Hello, Nick R. Murphy here with another installment of Nocturnal Newz Film Review. This is episode 3, but don't take that to mean you have to have heard the first 2 episodes to understand what happens in this one. This isn't that kind of show. No, this is the kind of show where you can just pick it up anytime and be just as clued in as any other person. So if this is the first time you're listening, welcome. For everyone else, welcome back. Today's film is Without a Body. That title is a reference to how someone would be described if they in fact did not have a body. Ancient Aztecs often referred to people in this manner after sacrificing them into volcanoes. You see, the smoldering magma turned people into ash, so in this circumstance they were indeed without bodies. But enough history. Let's talk about this movie. What's it all about? What's good about it? What's bad about it? You won't know until I tell you about it, unless you've actually seen the movie and you want to see if my thoughts align with yours, which is 80% of the reason I read film criticism to begin with. I always want to see if people have the same feelings I did about any given movie. And, some of the reviews reflect my feelings, others don't. It's a certified deluge of mixed emotions and opinions. And now I'm about to throw my hat into the ring and discuss a film that not too many folks are talking about. That's the kind of cinema we cover over here on Nocturnal Newz Film Review, the undiscovered movies that are all over streaming sites. They're like the mortar between bricks of bigger movies, and you know the ones I'm talking about. They're everywhere. You'll be scrolling on Amazon Prime, and between The Boys and Borat 2, there'll be all these flicks you never heard of and can't imagine anyone actually watching. But guess what? People do watch those things. I'm one of those people, and among those unfamiliar titles, I went and clicked on Without a Body on Prime, and I buckled up for the ride. And what was it like? Let's see, what was it like? What can I tell you about this? Well, it was pretty spooky. It was a pretty spooky movie, folks. Pretty spooky. Without a Body was directed by Harvey Lowry, who's done a lot of stuff, though it's unclear on IMDb which stuff is actually available out there. But what I found interesting was that Harvey Lowry directed a flick called The Competition with Chris Klein and Thora Birch. Now, I haven't seen that movie, but I actually want to see that movie. That pairing, that team-up is it's just crazy to me. It's like the movie that answers the question, what if Chris Klein and Thora Birch stayed on the A-list after American Pie and American Beauty, respectively, and did a cliched romantic comedy together? Now, I don't know if that's how the movie actually is, but that's what the poster implies. It looks like a total, Hollywood romantic comedy. Well, and my point is, Harvey Lowry, the director of Without a Body, also directed that movie. And if I can imagine how Harvey Lowry did The Competition, then that offers a lot of potential for Without a Body to be at least as interesting as The Competition might be, if that makes sense. Without a Body was written by, there's 2 writers here, Andrew B. Chisholm and Cecile Cinco. It stars Jack Campbell, Catherine Kresge, Whitney Rose Penn, Isabella Kai. Oh, and get this, Kevin Sorbo's in this thing. Yeah, Kevin Sorbo drops in the 3rd act. So we got some pretty good actors in here. That cast here is solid. They play it straight and the emotions are genuine. Well, maybe not genuine, but most certainly authentic. I'll get a little more into that in a minute, but let me get into what this movie is about. Starts out with a flashback sequence. This kid is praying in Spanish. He's talking about his papa and how he's angry. And then his papa comes in. He's got these black eyes like a doll's eyes. And then cut to present day. What the heck was all that creepy crap before? Well, we'll find out later. But first, character development. We get to know this family, a father and his 2 daughters. Where's the mother? I have a bad feeling about what happened to the mother. So, anyway, you find out she's dead, and the family moves into an isolated house in the middle of, you guessed it, nowhere. It's a fresh start, and it's a great place for the father to work on his book. You see, the father's some kind of writer, and he moved into this house with his children, where some other guy went apeshit and hacked his family to bits a few decades earlier. It's a perfect place for a fresh start, one would think, right? Turns out not so much. So the family gets settled in, they make this house a home, and then the little sister starts hearing a voice coming from a well in the yard. She starts talking to this voice, which is almost definitely the kid that was praying about his angry papa at the beginning, and a bunch of creepy stuff goes down. There's this rotting corpse ghost bitch who freaks out the cable guy and has designs on the kids. The older sister tries to explain this whole thing to her father, and the father doesn't believe in all this haunting hullabaloo, despite devoting his writing life to it. He's writing a book about haunted houses, and he's living in a haunted house. But he doesn't really believe. He's just capitalizing on it. But, you can rest assured he'll be made a true believer soon enough. To get any more deep into it would be treading into spoiler territory. Suffice to say, there are plenty of twists in store, which include Kevin Sorbo he's battling the demons of hell, as he often does to enjoyment of millions. And, with all that said, Without a Body delivers on its promise as a disturbing, psychologically intense thriller. It makes one question what's real and what's in the mind. It plays with reality very effectively. I found plenty of concepts interesting about it. As a story, it's admittedly run-of-the-mill supernatural drama. We've seen things like this before. You can spit and hit flicks like this in the bargain bin at Walmart. But this rendition of a traditional haunted house story has elements that set it apart from others of its ilk. I think about the twists, the twists that come at the end, and they just make me shudder at the idea of them. I'm not going to say what they are here, but if, when you watch it and you see it, it's just, it's spine tingling or spine chilling, whatever. And the themes this movie explores, I can spend hours picking apart here. The mix of the spiritual and the physical universe creates possibilities that are heretofore incomprehensible. And it's interesting to see movies try to make sense of these improbabilities. It's a gamble because the audience's suspension of disbelief can only go so far. So for Without a Body to exist in a reality that in any way resembles ours, there's logical considerations to take into account before worrying about ghosts and goblins. And this movie did a pretty fine job of doing that. Because for this movie to work in any way at all, it has to believe what it sells, and it does. And all the credit goes to the actors here. These actors are pros, and I'd love to see them in more stuff. Jack Campbell, he carries the movie with the natural intensity his role calls for. He plays the father, and the kids are good too. Whitney Rose Penn plays the older sister, and at times the script demands her character to take on the presence of leadership, and she does it. She rises to the occasion. The acting is bar none the best part of Without a Body. The movie is well photographed too. There's a lot of cool aerial drone shots that establish the ominous setting. The atmosphere of the whole thing is steeped in this aura of creepiness, which offers a consistent tone throughout. The film embraces what it is and respects the audience enough to not be what it isn't. And with that confidence, I can't in good conscience say Without a Body isn't worth checking out, because it is. If you're into stories about child murder and demonic possession, that is. So, yeah, that's Without a Body right there. And I suppose it's tradition to give this a rating from 1 to whatever, whether it be, a number, scale, or stars or whatever. But, I think I've grown out of giving numerical assessments based on a personalized criteria that dictates what's good and bad. That sounds rather childish, doesn't it? That's why I have the Goblin rating system that ranks every movie featured on Nocturnal Newz Film Review on a scale from 1 to potato. It takes the Whose Line Is It Anyway approach, where it's all made up and the points don't matter. And with that in mind, I give Without a Body 48 3/4 goblins with a remainder of 0.90 to cancel any irregularities in the consensus. Just to keep things even. So Without a Body is on Amazon Prime. If you are a member, you can watch it free right now. And before I leave you to the routine uncertainty of your everyday lives, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our sponsor. Today's episode of Nocturnal Newz Film Review is brought to you by Extreme Lighting and Grip. Extreme Lighting and Grip is a Las Vegas-based full-service lighting and grip and electric company with over 60 years of experience working in film, theater, live events, and broadcast, which gives them the experience you can trust with the expertise you need. You can contact them today to learn about their equipment packages, their crew services, or anything else they can help you with. So if you're looking to crew up any upcoming events in the Las Vegas area, you can connect them now at extremelightingandgrip.com. extremelightingandgrip.com. That's and the word, not the symbol in extremelightingandgrip.com. That symbol is known as an ampersand, and if it can't be used in website domain names for some reason, but is often found in HTML code. Beats me how that makes sense. I don't code. Anyway, that's all for Nocturnal Newz Film Review. Thank you for listening. And check out Without a Body wherever you can find it on demand or on Prime. It's probably on DVD too. And have a great day. Until next time. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.